Hey guys, Supercharged Petrolhead here. I hope everyone is having a great day and let's just get right into the video then.
I can't control.
Something I can't control.
Maruti Suzuki is the biggest automaker in India. They are the biggest player in the Indian passenger car market. And here is everything you need to know about the history of Maruti Suzuki. The year was 1970. Disco was taking over the world and people loved bell bottoms and colorful shirts. And in the November of the same year, a private company named Surya Ram Maruti Technical Services Private Limited, MTSPL in short, was founded. God, it is a long name. The main goal of the company was to provide technical know-how for design, engineering and manufacturing of indigenous cars for India. And in June 1971, Maruti Limited was incorporated and unfortunately it got liquidated in 1977. But in 1981, it was brought back to life by the continuous effort of a man named V. Krishnamurthy. And in the same year, Maruti Udyog Limited was incorporated by the Government of India. And the next year, in 1982, a joint venture was formed between the Government of India and Suzuki Motors of Japan, and both parties agreed to nominate a person for managing director for the company every 5 years. At first, it was only an importer of cars from Japan, and Maruti sold Suzuki's K cars in India, but it was not successful and people didn't buy it because it was still expensive for an average Indian middle class family. So Maruti decided to make cars for Indians in India based on Suzuki's platform to make it more affordable. And in the very next year, in 1983, Maruti 800 was released. It was a 800cc small hatchback based on Suzuki's K car platform. It was an immediate success. It was small, well built, reliable, and most of all, affordable for an average Indian. The sales started in December of 1983, and the first car was handed over to a man named Harpal Singh by the then Prime Minister of India, Mrs. Indira Gandhi. It was an historic moment in Indian auto industry, and the success of 800 led to more cars being launched in India. Maruti launched a van based on 800 in 1984, and the famous off-roader Gypsy was launched in 1985, and it immediately became an icon. There are still old gypsies roaming the streets of India with more than 500,000 kilometers on the odo. This astounding success led Suzuki to increase its equity in Maruti from 26% to 40% in the year 1987. And in the year 1988, Maruti started exporting cars built in India to other countries, and the first batch of 500 cars were exported to Hungary. The 90s has started. Bollywood was booming. More and more Indians were able to afford cars, and the Indian government decided to liberalize the Indian market and opened its gates to foreign investment in the country, which led to Suzuki increasing its share in Maruti to form a 50-50 share between the Government of India and Suzuki Motors, and naturally Suzuki's equity increased from 40% to 50%. And in the year 1994, Maruti sold its 1 millionth vehicle just 10 years from the day it sold its first car. And in the same year, Maruti introduced a 24-hour emergency on-road vehicle service. While all of this is happening, there was a problem looming under the surface. And in the year 1997, a huge labor problem arose, and in the same year, ownership changed and the government became the major controller of Maruti. This led to a cold war between United Front government and Suzuki Motors. And it didn't take long before a huge problem broke. As a turn of the century in the year 2000, the workers of Maruti went on an indefinite strike, demanding higher wages along with things like incentives and pensions. In the same year, the government sold some of its share in the company in the public offering. And this doesn't go well with the workers who were already protesting, as they feared that the majority private ownership will lead to a lesser overall benefits for them. But it was not all bad in the year 2000, as Maruti launched a call center for customer service, and it was the first by an automaker in the country. And the next year, in 2001, Maruti launched Maruti True Value, a dealership network for used and pre-owned cars. In the year 2002, Maruti introduced two new industries under its umbrella, which are Maruti Insurance Distributor Services and Maruti Insurance Brokers Limited. And in the same year, the government privatized the company and Suzuki became the major stakeholder with up to 54.2% of shares. And by the year 2003, Maruti had sold over 4 million vehicles just in 20 years of starting their operations in India. And in the same year, Maruti partnered with State Bank of India (SBI) and entered Bombay Stock Exchange (BSE) and National Stock Exchange (NSE). And in the year 2004, Maruti's new model Alto became the best-selling car in India, beating 800 and ending its 20-year domination over Indian passenger car market. And the Alto is still the highest-selling car in India even in 2018. Maruti sells tons of Altos every month. In the year 2005, Maruti's most famous car Swift was launched in India, and in the same year, Maruti reached the milestone of selling over 5 million vehicles in India. And in the next year, in 2006, Maruti started two new plants, one for cars and one for engines, and currently Maruti has three production facilities in India, one in Gurgaon, one in Manesar, and one in Gujarat. In 2007, the Government of India sold all of its shares in the company through the Ministry of Disinvestment, and Suzuki became the major player in Maruti Udyog Limited. Just when everything seemed to go well, a tragedy struck Maruti. In the year 2012, violence broke in Maruti's Manesar plant, and an angry mob of workers attacked supervisors and started fire, which killed a human resources general manager and injured more than 100 of others, including few policemen. The workers alleged Maruti that the harsh working conditions and low wage were the cause of violence, but the company denied that. The police filed the FIR, which stated that the violence is a result of planned violence by the section of workers and union leaders, and police arrested over 91 people. Maruti stopped the plant due to unrest, leading to a loss of over 75 crores per day. The company dismissed over 500 workers accused of causing violence. The plant was reopened in August. The shutdown costed over 1 billion rupees per day. And in 2013, the workers went on a hunger strike to protest against the jailing of their colleagues. And in June 2013, the international delegation from International Commission for Labour Rights (ICLR) released a report alleging serious violation of industrial rights of worker by Maruti Suzuki management. But again, the company denied that as a false accusation. Total of 148 workers were charged, but the court dismissed cases against 117 workers. But the remaining 31 workers were found guilty, out of which 18 were convicted for causing violence and 13 were sentenced to life in prison after being found guilty of the murder of general manager. While all of this was happening, Maruti was making huge financial and technological improvement. Their cars were getting better day by day, and in the year 2015, to satisfy the needs of luxury car buyers, Maruti launched a sub-brand named Nexa, which will deal in sales and services of premium offerings from Maruti Suzuki. And in the same year, Maruti had produced its 50th million vehicle in India. By 2017, Suzuki holds nearly 57% of stake in Maruti, and the Maruti Suzuki holds around 51% market share in the passenger car segment. By the year 2018, Maruti produces over 17 lakhs vehicles annually from its three plants. It has around 1,820 sales outlets in 1,471 cities across India, and Maruti has announced that the sales outlet will be increased to 4,000 by the year 2020. It has around 3,145 service stations in 1,506 cities, and it has over 1,100 outlets for Maruti True Value across the country. To put that in perspective, the dealership network of Maruti is larger than Hyundai, Mahindra, Honda, Tata, Toyota and Ford combined. Yes, combined. it is that big of a player in the Indian market. Maruti is continuing to grow in India, and I am sure it will be in the list of every new car buyers because that is how big of an impact it had on the Indian buyers. And that is the history of Maruti Suzuki, from a humble origin to becoming one of the most famous and biggest auto manufacturer in India. And if anyone from Maruti Suzuki India is watching this, hey, maybe give me one of your car to test and review in the channel. So that's it guys. I'm sure I might have missed a few things here and there. So please let me know if any. And also tell me in the comments below which auto manufacturer's history I should do next on the channel. And as always, thank you guys and girls for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, Supercharged Petrolhead here, over and out.
I just might roll out my veins. I do it